Ever get that feeling like you just bought into a stock and then, bam, some crazy news drops, and suddenly your portfolio's doing the tango in the wrong direction?
Happens to the best of us.
Right, like the market just loves to keep us on our toes. But that's exactly why we're diving into this whole news and trading thing today. We've got this article you guys sent over, chock full of strategies to help us navigate those, well, let's call them exhilarating market moments.
Because let's be real, it's not always about the news itself, It's how that news stacks up against what everyone's already freaking out about.
Okay, so you're saying it's all about, like, expectations versus reality.
Bingo. Think of the market as this giant prediction machine constantly trying to guess what's coming next based on every rumor and whisper.
Okay, I'm with you.
So let's take the monthly jobs report, everyone, and their grandma's watching those numbers. Analysts are making predictions, and the market starts to price those predictions in before the numbers even drop.
Gotcha. Everyone's on edge, waiting to see if the number's going to be a hit or a miss.
Exactly. Now imagine the report comes out, and it's not stellar, not great, but a teeny bit better than the total disaster everyone was bracing for.
So even if the news isn't fantastic, it's the element of surprise that gets the market moving.
Precisely. That's that whole buy the rumor, sell the news thing in action. The market had already priced in, like, Armageddon. So even a slightly less apocalyptic report suddenly looks like good news. Buying frenzy ensues.
Like dodging a bullet. You were ready for the worst, but hey, a drizzle is better than a hurricane.
Right, but that's exactly why you got to have a game plan.
You can't predict every plot twist the market's going to throw at you, but you can at least have a strategy for when things go haywire.
100%. A clear plan is your best buddy when the market's throwing a tantrum. Keeps you grounded. And this article we're looking at, it's got some pretty solid strategies, like partial closing, for example.
Okay, break that down for me.
So say you're in a trade, feeling good about it, and then, bam, news hits, throws everything out of whack. Instead of panicking and selling everything or, holding on for dear life,
you bail. Strategically.
Exactly. Reduce your exposure, take some chips off the table. It's about adapting, recalibrating, you see.
Love it. So instead of going all in, you're playing it smart, managing that risk.
Exactly. And that brings us to another gem, hedging. Basically, don't put all your eggs in one basket. If one trade goes south because of some unexpected news, a good hedge is like your safety net.
It's like having a backup plan, just in case.
Exactly. And of course, we can't forget the good old stop-loss order, your best friend in a volatile market.
Ah, the trusty stop-loss. Not about being scared, it's about being smart.
Right. It's like giving your trades some breathing room without letting them run wild. But here's the thing.
There's always a thing.
You gotta be flexible. Your stop-loss needs to adapt to the market climate. News hits, volatility spikes. Might be a good time to tighten those stops a bit.
So you're giving your trades a shorter leash when the market's feeling a little unhinged.
Exactly. It's about finding that sweet spot close enough to protect you from a bloodbath, not so close that you're getting stopped out by every little blip. And that's where understanding volatility and your own risk tolerance comes in. Because remember, your trading plan, it's not set in stone.
Got to be ready to adjust, right? Like a surfer riding a wave, got to adjust to the currents. Which actually reminds me of another point this article made. Always, always, always reevaluate your risk versus reward, especially when news throws a curveball your way.
Oh man, that's huge. It's so easy to get fixated on your initial plan, even when the whole game has changed.
Tunnel vision. You're so focused on the finish line that you don't see the wall you're about to run into.
Ouch, yeah. Talk about a reality check. Sometimes the smartest play is knowing when to adjust your sails, even if it means taking a smaller win than you hoped for.
Better a smaller win in your pocket than a potential loss you're chasing, right?
100%. Speaking of chasing, ever get that feeling that everyone's jumping on the same trade? Like everyone's suddenly an expert on this one stock and you're just
wondering if you missed the memo.
Yeah, that's the herd mentality in action. And it's where understanding the psychology of the market, not just the numbers, becomes crucial. Because, big news, especially the unexpected kind, it triggers something primal.
Fight or flight, buy or sell.
Exactly. Suddenly it's all fear and greed driving the bus, and everyone's scrambling for the exits or piling in depending on which way the wind's blowing.
Like a flock of birds suddenly changing direction all at once.
And that's exactly when you need that trading plan we were talking about. When everyone else is losing their cool, your plan is your anchor. It reminds you, hey, this is your strategy, your risk tolerance, your long-term game.
So it's like having a map when everyone else is wandering around lost in the woods.
Exactly. But here's the thing. This article, it takes it a step further, right? It's like sometimes the best trades, the real gems.
They come from going against the herd.
Right. It sounds kind of crazy, right?
Right.
But it all goes back to understanding the why behind the market's moves, not just the what.
So just because everyone's doing something doesn't mean it's the right move.
Sometimes it's a straight-up stampede toward a cliff. And that's when those who are paying attention, who are thinking for themselves.
They see the opportunity.
Exactly. It's about having the guts to trust your own analysis, even when it's telling you something different from the crowd. Doesn't mean you got to be contrary just for the sake of it, though.
You're not trying to be the lone wolf, just seeing the whole picture.
Yes. You're looking for those moments when the market's reaction doesn't quite line up with what's actually happening.
Like those optical illusions where your brain is telling you one thing, but if you really look closely...
There's a whole other image hiding in plain sight. It's like those magic eye posters. Remember those? You got to look past the chaos to see the hidden image.
And sometimes the market feels like one giant magic eye poster.
Yeah.
Right. Speaking of which, the article also mentioned how even those what just happened moments in the market usually have an explanation.
Totally. We might see a price swing that seems completely bonkers. Like, who would do that? But here's the thing. The market rarely acts without reason. If we dig a little deeper,
There's usually a method to the madness.
9 times out of 10, there's a perfectly logical reason why something happened. We just got to find it.
So instead of just scratching our heads and moving on, we should treat those head scratchers like got clues.
Exactly. It's like being a market detective. Put your thinking cap on. What am I missing? What's really driving this?
So it's not just about following the news. It's about learning how to decode it, connect the dots.
Because sometimes the most valuable lessons don't come from the screaming headlines, but from those little inconsistencies, those times when the market's reaction doesn't quite match the story everyone's telling.
It's like reading between the lines. The market's a complex beast, right? It's not just about the latest tweet or headline.
Oh, absolutely. The more you understand those subtle cues, the better you'll be at navigating those unexpected turns, those curveballs the market throws at you.
They're not just obstacles or opportunities.
Exactly. Every head-scratching moment is a chance to learn, to refine your instincts, maybe even uncover a hidden gem of an opportunity.
It's all about perspective, right? You can either be intimidated by the market's unpredictability or embrace it. See it as a challenge.
Well said. Those unexpected swings, they can either be threats or they can be the things that make you a better trader. It's your call.
So, to everyone listening, next time things get a little crazy in the markets, because let's face it, they will take a deep breath, look at your plan, and most importantly, ask yourself, why? Why is this happening? What can I learn from this? You might be surprised at what you discover. Until next time, keep those brains engaged and keep diving deep.